African women, they play important roles in the African community, in the states and in their nations. And because of their contributions that have been there for several centuries, it is important for us to understand their political contributions and to bring it forward. And it is also important for them to be empowered for further contributions so that they can be at par with the men in their various countries.
Politics is basically about the division of national resources. And if we think about it in that way, then it's really critical for us to understand how women have contributed to their particular nation's economies and how they can entitle themselves moving forward to their nation's resources as well.
I think African women's political history is a great way to understand the history of women in various parts of the world. I think often there's this perception that African women are like the most oppressed women around the world, but when you look at the history of African women's political participation, you can really see the interconnections between women across the world.
African women's political struggles are very important to rethink political engagement, also to include new strategy of mobilization, new speeches, new profiles in the political history in general, in the history of politics.
It's important to avoid erasure. African women have contributed to state building across all African countries in such a significant matter.
In many instances, African women have been, or their stories, especially in political history, have been left unnarrated or untold.
It helps to think about nation building in Africa, to think how women have been excluded from the political institution.
They played integral parts in independence movements, decolonization, post-colonial state building, as this conference shows, and also in just creating cultures of many African spaces.
It should matter because people first of all imagine the world that they would like to be in before doing it practically.
If we reshape the roles that they played, the status that they have in colonial period, it can also be able to then reshape their positions, their status in post-colonial Africa.
Can we have women leadership, as the conference we are tackling suggests?
We have to think about patriarchy and the construction of the institution with these issues.
And so for me, it's a really important way for thinking broadly about the issues that impact women's participation around the world.